Hi, my name is Gerhard Schwantner and welcome to the Art of Nonverbal Selling. During the past 25 years, I've studied countless sales calls and videotaped and analyzed hundreds of interactions between buyers and sellers. What I've discovered is that most salespeople get so caught up in the verbal part of the sales call that they don't read or respond to the buyer's nonverbal signals. Dr. Morabian at UCLA found that only 7% of our feelings and attitudes are communicated with words, 38% with our tone of voice, and 55% non-verbally. I found that doing a 20-minute sales call, buyer and seller exchange over 200 non-verbal messages. The question is, what should we focus on? And how should we respond? To make it easy on ourselves, we can divide the body into 5 major nonverbal communication channels. The first channel is the face. A friendly face shows that the buyer is opening up to us. But as you know, facial expressions are not always genuine. In fact, buyers often wear a mask to hide their true feelings. The second channel are the buyer's arms. Closed arms may show that the buyer is guarded or defensive. The third channel are the buyer's hands. While facial expressions can be easily manipulated, we're often unaware of what we communicate with our hands. Open and relaxed hands are always a positive sign. The next channel are the buyer's legs. We want to observe if their legs are crossed away from us, which may indicate a guarded and defensive attitude. The last channel, the body angle, you'll see that the buyer is leaning away from the salesperson, another sign of caution. Now, is it necessary to read and analyze every nonverbal signal? No. That would be counterproductive. Here's a simple and effective way for managing the important nonverbal part of the sales call, the traffic light system. In a way, the buyer's body is telling us how to move forward with our sale. Fortunately, we don't have to learn more about psychology, but only about strategy. And here's how it works. Let's first talk about green signals. A buyer with a friendly facial expression, relaxed hands, arms uncrossed, legs relaxed, and a body angle directed towards you all indicate all signals are green. The buyer's body language says, go ahead with what you're doing. There are no hidden obstacles at this time. And go ahead and move forward with the sale. Let's talk about yellow signals. Here's some typical yellow signs. A steepling gesture, a sign of superiority. In sales, many times we see self-touching gestures, like the hand on chin. What do these signals mean? We can't know the exact meaning, but we do know that here's an obstacle preventing open communication between you and the buyer. The buyer won't tell you what it is, but the body language says, here's an obstacle, proceed with caution. Like in this example, crossed legs. It's very important for you not to mirror the buyer's yellow signals. The best strategy is to ask an open question and listen carefully so you can get the buyer to open up. It is very important to discuss the hidden issues before they become a real stumbling block to your sale. And that's where we see red signals. Red means that the buyer is getting either more indifferent and tunes out or increasingly aggressive and angry. In that case, you must act quickly before it's too late to respond. Your best strategy to red signals is to stop what you're doing, send green signals, and immediately redirect your approach. In this scenario, the salesperson responds with green signals. He leans forward and shows open palm gestures. When you express understanding of the buyer's feelings, chances are that the buyer will open up again. On your next sales call, pay attention to your customer's body language. Use the traffic light guide to make your counter moves. If you see green, proceed. If you see yellow, ask open questions. If you see red, stop and redirect your approach. Successful salespeople sell more with their eyes, and so can you. They communicate green signals throughout their call, and they close the sale when the buyer communicates green. Practice the art of nonverbal communication to make more money than you ever thought possible.
Think about your last sales call. Was the customer leaning forward or backward in his chair? Was she smiling at you, but at the same time, did she have her arms crossed? Did his desk present a barrier between the two of you? During a 20-minute sales call, approximately 800 nonverbal messages are exchanged between seller and buyer. You know your product, you know your presentation. Your goal is clear: to get the sale and to create a satisfied customer.
It's been crazy, so I'm sorry.
But your verbal skills don't always lead you to the sale. Why? Because you often focus too much on what is being said. If you fail to pay attention to the nonverbal signals, you can create a wall between you and your prospect. Scientific research proves that we communicate 55% of our feelings and attitudes through nonverbal expressions, 38% through tone of voice, and only 7% through spoken words. Salespeople who maximize the impact of that 55% by reading and responding to their customers' body language will have a significant competitive advantage.
Keep up with the volume.
Misinterpreting your customer's body language can often lead to lost sales.
Oh, that's very nice, yeah.
Great. He's ready to buy this. Well, if you don't have any other concerns, what do you say we talk delivery dates?
What if I pay all that money and it isn't compatible with our equipment?
If I may show you one more thing. So, do you feel this will work for you?
This sounds great.
Yeah, I think
I want this.
I'm gonna do what we need. I just need to run it by Brad, as I mentioned.
He's not as interested as I thought.
I'll say so.
Well, you know, I'll get out of your way here. Maybe if I can just leave my card with you. Appreciate that.
Yeah, it's not a problem. Hey.
Thanks. Thanks.
You can avoid these nonverbal mistakes, improve your observation skills, and learn to interpret major nonverbal signals and their meaning to your selling strategy. To successfully manage and control a sales call, we must become aware of our customer's body language, aware of our own body language, and manage to advance the sale and our relationship with the customer by applying the most appropriate verbal and nonverbal skills. When we use nonverbal communications techniques together with professional selling skills, you can identify and overcome negative nonverbal signals early in the sale.
Why don't I sit over here so we can go over our material together?
Respond faster and more accurately to buyer concerns.
Sherry, why don't we develop a quality assurance standard that matches your requirements?
It all begins with how you read your customers' true feelings and attitudes, feelings that they may be unaware of or trying to hide. Monitoring the buyer's nonverbal signals starts with a receptive state of mind. The ability to read the customer's age, ethnicity, energy level, and personality, as well as the immediate environment, helps you respond instantly, appropriately, and successfully throughout the sales call.
Go ahead. All right, thanks. I got somebody in my office. I'll give it to you. Ah, Susan. Good to see you again.
It's nice to see you too.
Scanning is simple because there are only 5 major channels of nonverbal communication: face, body angle, arms, legs, and hands.
Pay all that money and it isn't
Observing a single gesture or focusing on one channel alone may not give us enough information, but scanning all 5 channels will provide us with vital clues about our customer's state of mind, expanding our awareness of his or her true feelings and
I'd like to
attitudes.
show you how beacon printing can take you
An upright posture or body movement directed toward you is an important clue, signaling the sale is headed in the right
We can
direction.
achieve that. There's no reason not to do it. I really love that stuff.
Conversely, when your customer leans back or away from you, he may be sending a negative message. Your buyer's face can be a puzzle. People often mask disinterest or disagreement behind a friendly smile.
That's been my experience in other stores.
Some buyers are trained to frown when they hear any price, a simple but often effective nonverbal strategy designed to get a deeper discount.
You're not going to be able to beat that price anywhere else.
Skin color, such as a sudden flush or deepening redness, can indicate anger or embarrassment. Where your customer puts her arms, how she moves them, and the intensity of her movements can give you vital clues to your selling strategy.
Fairly high production schedule.
How you doing?
Likewise, customers often cross their legs away from you when they first sit down next to you. Then a few minutes later, you both find yourselves mirroring each other's body language.
Goodness.
However, the most revealing and reliable nonverbal signals are expressed through our hands. Relaxed hands and open palms indicate positive feelings.
Keep up with the volume.
Clenched fists indicate the opposite. We're often unaware of self-touching gestures, such as hands on chin, ear, nose, arm, or clothing. These silent messages often indicate anxiety or tension.
Today, I know that you are very busy.
On your next call, focus on your buyer's hand gestures.
And I have a Syrah.
While most people can easily control their face, their hands will reveal the buyer's true feelings.
My customers seem to...
Remember, a single gesture may be insignificant.
You sign this here.
What's important is to observe all 5 channels to find clues to whether your customer is reacting positively to your sales approach. Massive desks are visual barriers. It's hard to read your customer's body language in this setting. Sitting next to the buyer puts you on a more equal footing, where the atmosphere is more congenial.
Last week.
Remember, the objective of a sales call is not to walk away with a psychological profile of the customer, but to close the sale.
Yes, I do.
If you sign this here, you're getting the best quality product, the best price, backed by our guarantee.
To master nonverbal selling power, we need to learn to read and interpret the customer's nonverbal messages and understand their meaning to our selling strategy.
Please have a seat.
Thanks for meeting with me.
Just as a traffic light tells us to go, proceed with caution, or stop, the buyer's body communicates similar messages.
Try to get,
Green signals indicate that the customer is open and receptive to what you're saying. Your best strategy here is to move forward with your sales call.
breaking down.
Here are typical green signals. Your customer's body is leaning toward you. His face is friendly and smiling. His arms and legs are relaxed and uncrossed. His hands relaxed with palms open. You're on your way to making a sale.
Well, if you don't have any other concerns, what do you say we talk delivery dates?
I know where the corporation's going.
Yellow signals warn us to use caution. They suggest there is an obstacle preventing open communication with our buyer. You don't want to guess the nature of the obstacle, but you do want to uncover what it is. Here are typical yellow signals. Your customer leans away from you. Her face tense, doubtful, frustrated. Her arms and legs crossed, signaling caution.
Talk to you further back.
Her hands clasped and fidgeting. Yellow signals are silent obstacles that must be removed before you can close the sale. Don't ignore the body language of your customer when it indicates guardedness, frustration, tension, or doubt. What would be your best strategy for handling yellow signals? First, be sure your body communicates green signals.
Had many problems at all.
Second, ask open-ended questions to get the buyer to open up.
Just how important is it to you to increase speed while reducing overhead?
Well, obviously it's very important to me, but what's probably more important to me at this particular juncture is making sure that we stay within our budget.
Third, once the unspoken objections have been addressed, continue to display green signals and use open questions to encourage your customer to open up even more.
Upgrade the equipment while keeping...
If we fail to respond to a client's yellow signals, it's very likely that they'll turn red.
Listen, your last delivery was a week late. You cannot expect any more business from me unless you can guarantee on-time delivery.
I'm sorry about the late delivery.
Red signals alert you to stop. You are now facing nearly insurmountable barriers, and you need to repair the relationship first before you can move on with the sale.
The cause of it was that the replacement shipment didn't go out until after the holiday.
Red signals show that the buyer is becoming increasingly aggressive toward you or increasingly withdrawn from you. So remember, to enhance your selling power, the first key is to pay attention to your customers' nonverbal communication channels. The second key is to interpret the signals like a traffic light that shows you the way to the sale. The third key is to handle yellow signals early, before they turn into red signals. How? Instead of reacting defensively to a yellow signal, respond positively with openness in a thoughtful, professional manner. A simple, open question will show your customer that you care and that you're prepared to deal with any obstacle to your relationship or your sale. As you ask the question, be sure that your own body language signals green. You don't want to become the obstacle in the buyer's mind. In order to manage nonverbal communication in sales, we need to recognize that nonverbal signals always precede spoken words. Body language comes first.
Really not in a position to spend a lot of money on.
As a keen observer, you can catch a negative feeling before the buyer is able to verbalize the feeling.
Staple.
I'm not.
Here's how you easily remember your nonverbal strategy. F. Focus on the customer's nonverbal expressions throughout the call. I. Interpret the signals. R. Respond with open questions, unless you see green signals. S. Send positive signals. And T. Test the customer's attitude before you close the sale. Let's take a look now at how we can apply nonverbal communication techniques together with professional selling skills in a typical sales call.
Yes, he is. I have a 2 o'clock appointment today.
Your name is?
It's Susan Taylor from Beacon Printing.
Okay, Susan, have a seat.
Great, thank you.
The one response to a sales call that you can prepare for in advance is stress. A simple relaxation technique is deep breathing. Another good technique to strengthen your inner confidence is creative imagery. Use your imagination to visualize what could happen during the call, the worst buyer reaction, and then the best. This gives you an opportunity to screen your reactions and imagine your own verbal and nonverbal responses. If you're well prepared and relaxed, you'll be exhibiting green signals from the moment you enter the buyer's office.
Come on in.
Hi, I'm Susan Taylor.
Miss Taylor, right on time. Have a seat.
Sam Lakewood is sending out yellow signals. He won't even come from around his desk. Remember to scan your customer and smile.
I'm Susan Taylor, Beacon Printing.
Yes.
Remember we spoke on the phone last week?
Yes, yeah.
First of all, I would like to say thank you for taking the time to see me today. I can see that you are very busy, so I won't take up much of your time. Now, as you know, our company can provide you with innovative solutions to your printing needs. We can help you with things like...
He's older than I am. Better tone down my energy level a little.
We can cut down your printing bills, and we can increase overall quality.
Well, if you can do that, I'd be interested.
I did a little research, and I looked at some of your printed sales literature and catalogs.
Notice how Susan doesn't mirror Lakewood's yellow signals. She asks an open question to draw out the customer and to diagnose his needs.
Are you developing this in-house, or do you use an outside firm?
We've been using L&M graphics for our sales literature and our catalogs.
Yeah, I'm familiar with L&M. We've actually just printed an annual report that they designed. So are you happy with their services?
Oh, yes, they've done a very good job for us.
Notice how Susan tilts her head slightly. She leans forward and uses open hand gestures that signal green.
Of all the services that a printing company can provide to you, what would you say are the top 3?
Well, on-time delivery would be number 1.
Keep eye contact and don't mirror any yellow signals, like that frown.
Oh, yes, they've done a
Susan
very good
listens,
job for us.
nodding in rhythm with Sam's speech pattern.
And price would be 3rd. A few of
Susan continues to encourage Sam Lakewood to describe problems he had experienced. She uses green, open-handed gestures in response to his yellow signals.
You bet.
And you probably don't want to go through that again.
No, I don't want to go through that experience.
He seems to be relaxing, getting interested. Now let's introduce some new ideas.
Mr. Lakewood, I really appreciate you sharing this information with me.
Susan leads right into her presentation, stating benefits, using persuasive eye contact, and continually scanning her customer.
Once you turn a job over to Beacon Printing, 10 pairs of eyes watch out for you, so you get the best quality. And it all starts with inspection of the paper that you've selected for the job.
But your price is too high.
When it comes to objections, Susan keeps responding with green signals, acknowledging Sam's price objection.
Now let's take a moment to talk about that. How do you compare the price?
Currently, we're getting our catalogs done at $145 a thousand. Your
Right.
quote is $158.
Are you aware that our quote does include this 5-color process, a coated cover, and a better grade paper sample? Let me show you a sample. This is our die cut.
Ooh, that's nice.
He likes the quality, and his body signals green. Let's go for the close.
And last time you mentioned that you wanted to mail 220,000 new catalogs, is that right?
Yes.
And you do like the coated paper sample?
Yes, very much.
Great, great. Don't you think our company deserves a chance to prove to you that we can meet your high expectation for quality and on-time delivery?
Why not? Sure. I'll give your company a try.
Fantastic.
Nonverbal expressions are the emotional signposts guiding your way through the sale. If you allow body language to come first, you gain the competitive edge. Nonverbal selling power helps you enhance the relationship and advance the sale. The first step is to focus on the customer's body signals, the 5 communication channels. Second, interpret what the customer's signals mean to your selling strategy. Green means go, yellow means caution, and red means stop. Third, gain the customer's trust and confidence by responding with open questions. They're designed to get the customer to open up. Fourth, make sure that you send green signals throughout the call. You can train yourself to be open and accepting to your customers. Finally, appropriately. Our response is critical because the best tool to influence our customer is our own body language. Customers communicate their true feelings and attitudes through 5 nonverbal channels: face, body angle, arms, legs, and hands. We need to scan all 5 channels to understand our customers' true feelings and attitudes toward us and our proposal. Like a traffic light, we divide our customers' nonverbal expressions into green, yellow, and red signals. Here's our first exercise. We'll look at 8 selling situations. Your task is to read the buyer's nonverbal signals. Take notes and write down the signals and your best verbal response. Let's see how well you did. This buyer's eyes are averted. He's frowning. His head is tilted away. He is signaling yellow. Ask an open question. This customer's face is red. He is leaning away from the salesperson. His pointed finger and his angry facial expression indicate a red signal. Don't argue. Show understanding. Work at restoring the relationship before you move on. This buyer is looking away from you. Her hands are clasped. Her shoulders are raised. You're dealing with signs of tension and worry. She communicates yellow signals. Answer her questions truthfully and ask open questions to uncover her true feelings. This customer's arms and hands are open, palms up. His body is leaning forward, legs uncrossed. The face is relaxed. The buyer is signaling green. That's a sign to close the sale. This customer is leaning away from you. His hand is pulling at his neck. His facial expression shows doubt, a strong yellow signal. You need to respond to the obstacle with open questions. This customer is leaning away from you. Her shoulder is raised against you. She's pulling on her arm. Her facial expression indicates a strong defensive attitude. Increased withdrawal is a red signal. You need to acknowledge her feelings, express understanding, and create positive involvement. This customer's facial expression is friendly. Arms are uncrossed, hands relaxed. A green signal. It's time to ask for the order. This buyer's hand is raised. His thumb is covering his lips. His facial expression indicates doubt, a yellow signal. Your best strategy is to answer the buyer's question and follow up with a probing question to test the buyer's attitude. Remember to use the first acronym for developing your nonverbal strategy. F. Focus on the customer's nonverbal expressions throughout the call. I. Interpret the signals. R. Respond with open questions. S. Send positive signals. And T. Test the customer's attitude before you close the sale. Let's get started with our second exercise. This is your first call on the general manager of the company. Let's see what signals you can pick up during the critical first 10 seconds of the call.
Susan Taylor from Beacon Printing.
Okay, Susan, have a seat.
Great, thank you.
Come on in.
Hi, I'm Susan Taylor.
Have a seat. It's very nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Let's review the scene and see what signals you've picked up. Mr. Lakewood is preoccupied. How would you get his attention? In this situation, it may have been better for Susan to walk a few steps, then stop, smile politely, and wait for the customer to get up and greet her. Do you smile when you meet a new customer? Remember, we want to send green signals from the beginning. When a customer looks you over like Mr. Lakewood, how should you respond? In this situation, you want to show confidence and avoid getting forced into power games. How? Take charge of the situation and state your business purpose. Self-touching gestures are signs of defensiveness, showing the customer that he is in control. Yellow signals won't help your sale. A palms-down handshake is yet another power signal, indicating that the customer has a need to be in control. If you can, always select a chair with an unobstructed view of the customer. Here is our third exercise. The customer has been very friendly and receptive throughout the call, but then you give him the price.
So with a 3-year warranty and a service contract, we're talking about an investment of $8,700.
$8,700? Where's the savings?
By assuming this posture, what nonverbal signal is he communicating? His face is friendly, but puzzled. He is leaning toward the salesperson. His legs are crossed toward the salesperson. His body language expresses green signals, even though his verbal expression contradicts them.
Oh, I need a lower net price.
What would be your verbal and nonverbal response? Maintain your open posture and strong eye contact. What would you say to him?
If you buy 2, I can give you a lower price.
I don't need to, I just need 1 at a lower price.
I can save you $850 by taking away the service contract.
Look, I'm gonna need that service contract.
Have you ever bought something that met your need for low price, but failed to live up to your quality expectations?
Yeah, why?
I think we're in a similar situation here. You told me that your previous model had many breakdowns that cost you money and aggravation. I assume you want to avoid these problems in the future.
Of course I do.
If you sign this here, you're getting the best quality product at the best price, backed by our guarantee.
Still $8,700.
The buyer's body language signaled green. There was no reason for last-minute price concessions. Remember, don't wait for a verbal invitation to close the sale. Just ask for the order at the earliest opportunity. Here's our fourth scenario.
The old...
You're in the middle of your presentation when your busy customer is interrupted by an important phone call.
Okay. Yeah, speaking. Hey!
What nonverbal signals is he communicating? His eyes are averted, and his tone of voice indicates tension and frustration. All yellow signals.
I'm not Look, I got somebody with me right now.
How would you handle the interruption and the possible change in attitudes? Remain neutral and relax.
Listen.
Think of a way to reconnect by refocusing on the business at hand. When he hangs up, re-establish eye contact.
Look, I don't want any excuse. Look, I have...
After an interruption, you want to create involvement with specific questions to draw your buyer's attention back to the business discussion.
Now, would you like to see your company looking like that?
Investment, but the long-term...
What makes selling such an exciting profession is that every call is different. Even when you know customers very well, they can surprise you with new attitudes that you may not have noticed before. That's why we need to remain vigilant and listen with our eyes and ears wide open. Approach every call as if it were your first. Test the waters with open questions before launching into your presentation. Scan the buyer's body. Keep your own body relaxed and communicate green signals. If you notice yellow signals, shift your focus from talking to listening. Ask open questions. Give the buyer a chance to express the hidden obstacle to your communication. If you show your customers that you really care about them, that you're able to serve their needs and solve their problems, you'll get more green signals than you ever thought possible. Now you're about to see how a role-play exercise called the practice call can increase your sales success. In the practice call, the buyer's situation is fictitious, but the behavior is realistic.
And by the end of the day,
it's like a link trainer for airline pilots. Pilots can test their skills in a safe environment where the responses are real and a mistake will never hurt anybody.
As a matter of fact, mistakes are a very good thing in the practice call. You don't want to maybe be trying out a new sales technique on a real customer because you'll stand the chance of losing the sale. Here, there's no risk. Okay. So, who wants to be the seller?
All right, I'll be.
Okay, Tony, here you go. Tony, this is your case. And the buyer?
I'll do the buyer.
Beautiful.
Okay, Michael, and that leaves you, Susan, to be the observer. So, I'm going to give you a few minutes to prepare, and then we'll get started.
Great.
Won't be hard on them.
No promise.
As the seller, Tony is going to call on a prospect. His objective is to open the call, present his product, explain customer benefits, and use a trial close. Michael will be playing the part of a typical prospect. His time is limited and he's busy. His goal in this call is not to volunteer any information unless the salesperson asks a specific question. As an observer, Susan will be observing, recording, and evaluating the seller's performance. She'll take notes to record the flow of the conversation and keep track of the nonverbal signals of both the seller and buyer. Also, she'll write down what she would do if she were in the seller's situation, so she can offer suggestions to the seller. As the viewer, we encourage you to assume the role of the observer. Please take notes and write down what was good and why. Also state what you would improve and how.
So, you ready to observe?
Absolutely.
Okay. Mr. Mackey, Tony Thompson.
Hi, how you doing?
Thank you for taking the time to see me.
You only got a few minutes. So.
Okay, I'll be quick. I was wondering, do you have any cigars, Dominican, in the range under $2?
No.
Okay.
Terrific.
Oh.
And here they are.
Yeah.
Okay, this is a curly head. Arturo Fuentes makes it. You're familiar with Arturo Fuentes?
Of course, yes, yes.
He makes his cigars. and it retails for about $1.35. And it's a unique cigar in the sense that it is made from novice rollers, and they're made from the cuttings of the leaves, which they use to make their fine cigars. Yeah. So the taste is really good. It might not burn as evenly. So Arturo Fuentes basically sells itself, and when you got a $1.35 cigar, which tastes just like his premium cigars because it's the same fillers, the same leaves, then you should have no trouble selling those. You play golf?
It smells very nice. Yes, of course.
It's a good golf cigar.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah. It'll stay lit through the wind, anything. So this one here, are you familiar with Padron?
Yes, of course.
This is a Nicaraguan cigar. It's a Honduran filler with a Cameroon wrapper.
That's very good.
Yes, it's a full-bodied cigar.
Yeah.
And that sells in the $6 range. Those would be for the people who like to smoke more intense cigars. Does your clientele buy mostly high-end cigars, or?
Well, we have a range, mixture. You know, middle class to upper middle class people.
So they're usually looking for what, $8 cigars, or?
Just the full range, really. We need more of these. Some people come in, they want to try cigars out, you know, and by location and so forth. So that, you know, we really do. I think I'll probably take 50 of these.
All right. You want a bundle of those? Terrific.
Yeah.
I would leave these with you if you'd like to smoke them.
I'll tell you what I'll do is I'll go ahead and I'll take a bunch of these.
Okay. Get your bunch.
And with the Padron, let me smoke it.
All right.
Let me taste it, and I'll let you know sometime tomorrow. Would that be?
Okay. That sounds great.
Yeah.
All right. If I may suggest, smoke it after dinner. A cup of coffee, a little espresso. Goes very well. Especially if you have spicy food. That'll hold up to it real nice.
Well, then I know where I'm going for dinner.
All right. Okay. All right. I'm out of here.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
That was great. I can tell you were really invested.
During the evaluation of the practice call, the seller gets a chance to reflect on the experience. Next, the buyer shares his comments, and then the observer will evaluate the performance and offer suggestions for improvement.
Hear what you thought was good and why.
Okay. Let's see. First, I'll talk about the verbal things you did that I thought were good. There was actually a lot of things. You guys did really well. So the first thing is I like that you verbally acknowledged the time constraint that the client had, but yet you remained confident. I think that's good because it kind of puts the customer at ease. I think a lot of salespeople can just sort of smooth over that and ignore it, but you were like, okay, I won't take up much of your time. So I thought that was good. I liked how you pointed out that he had a place in his stock for your product in that price range. I thought that was a very effective sales technique, and it sort of establishes the need for the client. As far as nonverbal, you did a lot of things there as well. I noticed that you kept your palms up and out, and I think that's great. It shows, it's kind of an open, non-threatening gesture that I think the client responded well to. You also nodded your head a lot when he was talking, which shows that, once again, you're listening, you're receptive to the client. And finally, I liked how you mirrored the client's smile and laughter, that you really established rapport, I think, with all your nonverbal and verbal things combined.
Okay, that's terrific.
Terrific.
Now let's move on to what can be improved and how.
Like I said, they did really well, so there wasn't a whole lot, but I did pick out a couple of things. As far as verbal, I do feel like you let the client off a little too easily with the padrones. I think you had a great thing going. I thought you were a little too conservative there. I think you should have at least made an attempt on the client. He was giving you a good response. He did get a little bit more relaxed. I think you should have, once you had the sales momentum going, an add-on would have been a little bit easier. Perhaps you should have suggested that he try maybe 50 of the padrones. You know, just try 50. And, you know, if they don't sell well, if you don't like them, you don't have to order them ever again. But I think you need the product, but all you really did is just let him try one. I think you could have sold him. He was in a pretty good mood. But as far as nonverbal, the only thing that I noticed that you needed improvement on was sometimes you looked a little to the left and down when you were talking to the client, and sometimes that can be interpreted as a little bit shady. You did say a few things like, you know, these taste, the $1.50 or something cigar tasted just like the premium. That's a little hard to believe, and when you were saying things that you didn't quite believe, you looked to the left or you looked down. Other than that, though, I thought overall it was really fantastic, and I really had to reach to find things to improve.
She's pretty thorough.
That was an excellent example of what was good.
Well,
Right? Okay, well, it's time to trade places.
Oh, good. I don't know if I can.
Now that you've seen how a typical practice call exercise is conducted, you can apply this learning tool to your situation. Your goal should be to train for increased sales. Here are your learning objectives. Test new skills. Remember, it's better to experiment in the classroom than to role play with real customers. Review how others see you. We rarely get a chance to see ourselves as other people see us. Adapt positive body language. Learn to automatically assume an open and relaxed body posture. Increase your motivation to change. Once you apply the power of nonverbal communication, you'll always have an edge. Narrow the gap between thinking and doing. How? Through ongoing practice.
All right, what about if you're a banker and I'm selling you?
We encourage you to participate in these practice call exercises.
Company looking like that.
Allow yourself to experiment and make mistakes. Mistakes show that you're not afraid of learning. The only mistake you can make is not to learn and grow.
A black belt one day?
3 years. Nonverbal communication is the biggest part of acting, actually. One of the things that I do in the class that I teach, the acting class that I teach, is that we'll take a look at the opening scene of The Godfather. And then we just go over the lines, and of course, really when you pay attention to the scene, The Godfather sounds actually a bit wimpy, but he wins, and he wins big time in that scene. So we watch it again with the volume down. And you can see that he's spending the whole time threatening the Undertaker with his body. It's all nonverbal.
Sometimes when I practice a script, I'll actually look in the mirror to see if I'm doing the proper gestures. You know, sometimes if you're nervous, you can come off, you know, like you might start fiddling with something. And even though you're saying the right script, if you're fiddling and I'm supposed to be confident, you know, it's a total contradiction. So I think you have to make sure that you don't just have the verbal script down, that you're doing the proper nonverbal gestures as well.
Positive nonverbal communication could be done through a smile or open hands or your body being relaxed and comfortable with the person that you're dealing with, whether it's in a scene or in any other situation.
How about the scene where Gerard gave you the cigar?
Oh yeah, well he's a great salesman anyhow. he's great at that. And it was just good because with what he does there, just presenting the cigar, well, you had to participate, you had to smell it, you had to become part of what he was doing, and I think that was a great sales technique.
A lot of times when I go on a job, on the way there, I don't turn on the radio, I don't listen to music. I actually sit there and kind of think about the client, think about what they're looking for, and try to become that.
Nonverbal communication in acting is very important because you're actually listening to what the body is saying to you without words. So it's very important.
What is being communicated, really communicated, and what you are feeling from the scene often has nothing to do with what the script says. And so you teach the actor to always follow the subtext, which is the nonverbal part, because that's really the truest form of communication.